1991 and 2002, marijuana use has increased. Believe it or not, for 12th grade, it went up by 30%. For 10th grade, it went up by 65%. 8th graders using drugs, illegal drugs, went up an astonishing 88% during that time period. Children tell us in the annual surveys, you probably remember taking those surveys in school, answering about if drugs were available, could you buy them, and questions like that. Every year, children report it's easier to buy illegal drugs than it is to buy beer or cigarettes. And you begin to realize that illegal drugs are not regulated in any way. Somebody sells them. Who is somebody? Who cares? Some of my friends in law enforcement, especially those in Lee, let out a very sad chuckle when they see the signs by a high school or a school that says drug-free school zone. They know it's not true, and I see a lot of you smiling in here right now. You know it's not true. There's no school zone that's drug-free. I've been running a jail for 20 years. I've been in the business for 26. People try really hard to get drugs into jail, and they're successful sometimes. We have one of the most secure jails anywhere. I know that because I helped design and build it. It's really tight. People have gotten drugs in there. So I would then submit to you, if you can get drugs into the most secure facility in the United States, how are you going to keep them out of a free society? It's not possible. So how much money are we talking? How much illegal money trades hands? The United Nations estimates, after a lot of research, that this is worth $500 billion a year. $500 billion that is untaxed, that is somewhere, that comes out of our economy. And because it comes out of our economy, we don't know where it is. That impacts inflation. Imagine having a suitcase like this, or a closet like this, or this. How about a bedroom with a mattress that looks like that? And you ask yourself, really? Well, the problem here is this guy had so much money, he had to convert these bills into $100 bills. In this room is $255 million. This is an actual DEA photo. And as you look at this photograph, that is a DEA seizure, you will see that this is in somebody's bedroom. This is a house. It's not a bank. I can assure you that there's probably not any bank in New Hampshire that has $255 million in cash in it. Think of the security systems that they have. So this guy, who is an opportunist, he's not necessarily a criminal. He's not necessarily wanting to kill people, and he certainly doesn't want to be killed, but he's an opportunist. There's an opportunity to make money here, because when we put a rapist in prison, those rapes stop. When we put an armed robber in prison, those armed robberies stop. When you put a drug dealer in prison, you create a job opportunity. Somebody else will step right in and take over on that trade. So this opportunist, who starts out as a peaceful person trying to supply his friends, which grows into an enterprise, he has a family, but he has $255 million in this room. He has no choice but to arm himself and prepare for combat. He can't take this money to the bank. That's not authorized. Too many questions are asked. You got to keep it somewhere. You have to protect it. And if the bad guys know you have it, your life is at risk. Your family's life is at risk. And what we're seeing in South America is that the cartels have more money than the government in South America. They have more assets. Even though we send hundreds of millions of dollars in assets to South America to help them fight the war on drugs, the cartels have better equipment. The cartels not only have wonderful smartphones, but they own the carriers for those smartphones and the towers for those smartphones. It's out of control. They've infiltrated the government, they've infiltrated law enforcement, and anybody that doesn't play their way will be decapitated or hung or cut open, field dressed for everybody else to see. South America has lost almost 70,000 people in the last 5 or 6 years in this war on drugs. 70,000 people. What is the impact of the war on drugs on the environment? Well, you know, we send assets to Colombia. We provide aerial sprays, defoliants, which will destroy the foliant so that we can destroy those plants. And the farmers that grew that 100 acres of substance now moves to another part of the jungle and carve out another huge portion of the rainforest, which our environment so desperately needs. It has an environmental impact as well. So what then is the solution? What then could possibly be the solution? There's only one solution based on all of these expert detectives, law enforcement officials, judges who belong to Law Enforcement Against Prohibition, prosecutors, defense attorneys, pilots for the DEA, United States Marshals, jailers. What do we all say? You have to remove the profit motive. The profit motive is what keeps the war going strong. The money is just too great. I want to take a moment to talk about the difference as we have this discussion on decriminalization versus legalization.